enjoy the series one way or the other. Even though he is scumbag Zerg. Alright, let me just set this up. Cool. Game Heart appears to have lost its best of icon, but you can still see the score, so that's all that matters. I'll have to look into getting a new up-to-date overlay, apparently. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Starbow Ladder Cup number 3. I'm Rifkin, joined today by Zombie Grub, and spawning here on the clan. It's gonna be the Red Zerg player, Tehredbandit.
That was pretty good. And on the bottom left, from the same clown, it is the purple Terran Osiris.
What, you're not gonna take a stab at being a text-to-speech bot?
Nope.
I always love those things too, when you would enter in stupid letters that would try and pronounce everything.
I never had that fun.
Well, unfortunate for you, I guess. I don't know. This is gonna be a fun match, I think. Again, for those who missed it, who didn't see the first Starbow Ladder Cups, who hadn't seen Red Bandit play in the past, I don't know a lot about Osiris, sadly. But Red Bandit has some very kind of, I would best describe special tactics. He is one of the few, the rare Zerg players in Starbow that actually go for Banelings. And, oh, I forgot. I was actually linked patch notes because it's been 2 weeks since the last time we saw you guys for the Starbow Ladder Cup. There's a lot of the dedicated viewers out there who probably know more than I do even, and that's perfectly cool. But for the casual audience, there were some small updates to the game. Now, nothing that's going to impact the Terran early game too significantly, but the late game has got some really cool changes. The Zerg Dark Swarm Cloud duration was increased from 20 seconds to 30 seconds. That's massive. If we get to that late game stage, if we see Defilers come out, we'll go into the details of Dark Swarm a little bit more. But for those who don't know, the Too Long Didn't Read version is if you're in a Dark Swarm, you basically can't get hit by ranged weapons.
I wonder how that compares to what Brood War had.
I don't know how long the one in Brood War lasted. It couldn't have been too long though, because Brood War fights were not, like, they were elongated, but that's because
they could have been, they actually could be really, really long. I'm gonna check it afterwards. But right now we actually have a early pool coming out. Yeah, with Speedlings.
Actually, this is gonna be interesting too. Not a lot of their significant changes for Terran players, guys. Red Bandit, however, is playing a little bit blind, playing the 50-50 guess whether his opponent's top left or bottom left. Unfortunately, he will scout wrong here. But there's already a wall up, so the reality is this little push, I think, is really meant to control the Terran player, make sure that their natural doesn't go down too easily, as low amounts of Marines early on just can't really contend with Lings. Lings are so much stronger and more effective in Starbow. But the other cool thing I was going to bring up too before we said the Lings pop out is you actually need an engineering bay to scan from the orbital command center now. You can't just scan by default. Just show that off real quick. It's grayed out.
What the hell? There's no duration. Useless Wikipedia. Oh,
for the you're looking up the original Dark Storm or whatever it's called?
Yeah, there's just duration, nothing. I'm like, alright, that's super helpful, thank you. Oh, that Reaper
popped
up the wrong side.
That is really unfortunate. Nice catch there for Red Bandit, of course, but I don't know. Reapers in Starbow, they're good, but they're not as good as they are in StarCraft 2. There's so little space they can work around. But the first Reaper does get across the map. That's worth noting, guys. Oh, well, hang on. Worth noting nothing. Lings get right on top of the Reaper immediately on creep. 5 health and nowhere to jump out. Ugh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Do you see this random Zergling cocoon? On the ramp?
Wait, what is it?
No, it's like a larva, but why was there a larva on the ramp in the first place?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
What the hell?
I guess just a glitch that pushed it over there?
Perhaps, I guess, yeah, maybe it just wandered off a creep or something. That's strange to see. I don't know what to say about that. And the Overseer made pretty early too, which is kind of interesting. They don't have any additional speed in Starbow until you get the pneumatized carapace, so it's kind of a, I don't know, just a slow detector, but you don't really need detection this early, so I'm not sure why he went for it.
And you can't even get a changeling until lair.
I didn't actually know that either. That's cool.
Yeah, I just looked at it. It's that's weird. So it's actually just another 50 mineral, 50 gas, whatever it is, for no reason. I don't know.
Maybe it's got more health.
It must be a little faster. It looks a little faster than Overlord.
Oh yeah, Overlord's 0.43. Oh, it's 1.2. It is faster than Overlord, so I take it back. Yeah. It's pretty good.
It's still pretty damn slow, but I guess it gets out of there.
It's just, yeah, when you glance at it. Now you guys might look at the screen right now going, oh my god, is that a medic? Oh my god, is that a fire bat? Yes! And this is Starbow. And that's what I like about it. They've brought back some units from the campaign. They've integrated some new units that were never involved in the first place. And we'll get to see some cool stuff.
Yeah. He actually could be setting up. Well, actually, I thought he might be setting up for a push because he has that, Firebud in there. But I guess just to make sure he can hold against any amount of lings coming at him, as Firebuds do pretty well in a defensive position when they're not completely surrounded.
Well, gotta be careful though. I was gonna say, a complete surround is not out of the question. But now that the bunker's down, he should pretty much be set on defense.
Yeah, that was an odd time to actually try and poke in there. If anything, they would have done it while the bunker was like halfway done. But he does still have that, knowledge of when exactly he's going to push out, so he can prepare. Another, other than that, he can do whatever he wants. He's already droned up pretty well on 2 bases. Oh, main might be still undersaturated.
Well, it's Starbow though. It's always weird to look at the saturation and see 16, less than 16. But again, like in Starbow, you mine more minerals. It's a little more efficient to have less drones. So it's kind of hard to say what the perfect saturation is for the time being. But you're right. I think he does have plenty of drones, and split between 2 bases, he's mining happily.
28 seems to be a really good number that I see a lot of Zergs do. Just and maybe all the matchups, 28 drones, and then they go into either the Spire or Hydralisk, or in this case, Lurker and Spire.
Now this little cool graph you guys see in the Spire, that's Nurturing Swarm. What it does is a Queen ability that also acts as a transfuse, but if used on a building creating something, it actually makes it speed up a little bit faster in the building process, kind of like a chrono boost. So it's kind of interesting to see that.
Yeah, Osiris is actually automatically defending against Mutalisk. It's not actually a bad choice, as Mutalisk just seem they're really strong. You only build 8, and you can go ahead and get that map control, that map presence, and they're actually pretty good. Especially since the units don't clump up quite as much, you can kind of actually pick them off, which you really can't do in StarCraft 2.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, whether it's anticipation of his opponent... Ooh, I like this sort of hidden base down here. Whether it's anticipation of his opponent actually going Mutalisks, or whether it's because he's a clanmate and they've practiced one another. I mean, the reality is, whether it's StarCraft 2 or Starbow, Mutalisks tend to get involved at some point regardless, so I do like the sort of catch-all approach he's taking towards his opening, because we've seen this too firsthand. If you guys have been here for the last ladder cups, like a lot of the times, it's Zerg players catching Terra players with their pants down that really give them an edge in this sort of matchup. But pushing across the map, not a terrible idea. He does have stim pack on his units, and well, the defense matrix being researched is kind of cute. I've not seen anyone really utilize it to great effect in Starbow yet, but it's got some cool potential.
I don't know if I like that above the Radiate though.
Yeah, I think Irradiate's pretty much like the strongest anti-Zerg. There's no questioning. Like, that's probably the best spell you could cast in this particular one. But
hopefully he gets it. He has enough gas for that as well.
Defense Matrix, by the way, some of you may remember the ability from Science Vessels back in StarCraft 1 original days, but it's on the medics now, and actually, if the unit's bigger, it gets more health from the shield, which I think is actually really cool, the scaling option, but still not going to be a terrible choice to have. It's basically pre-healing, I guess, but Marauders in this mix are not going to be that strong. Marauders don't have the bonus damage, and they're not nearly as effective as they are in regular StarCraft, but pushing forward, he scans the Lurker, he knows it's there, he's got to be careful. Lurkers are really good at dishing out tons of damage in a line to bio.
With only 2 though, and Starbow seems to have a slower pace to their attack, it's actually not that scary, but I like that he just pulls back rather than overcommit, because he doesn't know if there's 2 more Lurkers waiting, and that's actually what's happening there. They're morphing right now. Muta's still trying to go ahead and harass, and I don't think he's lost. Actually, no, he's lost 2 so far, so I don't think he's actually done that much damage. Probably not the best trade-off. But he's already changed into a Lurker, so...
He's actually not lost any Mutalisks.
Oh, wow.
Where did that guy come from? That guy just snagged 5 kills real quick. Marines don't stand a chance versus Lurkers, of course, but not too bad.
He hasn't lost any mutas? I thought he built 8.
Nope, he only built 6. Shift L, baby. Anyways.
Well, okay, my unit's loss never works. It says what they have.
Oh yeah, that's strange. Either way, I do know he did only make 6 though. Science Vessel on the way is going to be great, not just because Irradiate's going to be potential, not because Nerve Jammer does some decent stuff as well, but because he needs detection, and he can't be burning scans every 3 seconds.
Yeah. He's actually switching over to Marauders, which is something we saw, other Terran do, I suppose, to try and combat Lurkers, and we were wondering, like, is it really that effective? Marauders really don't seem that great.
It's not about the damage they do, I think it's more about the health they have, because Marines, as we see with 45 health, they just get their damage real fast, whereas Marauders can take quite a beating before going down.
Well, we're about to see. I mean, he goes in with everything into a line. I don't know what's up with that. Might as well just send in the Marauders.
Yeah, just a couple good hits off. Almost gets that one Lurker, 6 health remaining. Nope, does pop it off in the end. Has to be careful, another Lurker lying in wait. Lurkers have a passive mode too, I think, don't they, in Starbow?
Passive mode.
Or the thing that makes it so they don't auto-attack. Yeah, passive. Order selected lurkers ignore enemies that are within range. So what this kind of lets you do is if you haven't given away your lurkers, you can set up like a nice little clump of them, wait for the Marines to already be on top, and then attack before, like when they can't run away. It's actually pretty sick, but we don't see a lot of people utilize the passive feature.
Yeah. You know, Tehredbandit's really kind of bleeding off lurkers, and while initially it seemed like a cool idea because you can surprise them when they don't have a science vessel, they really didn't do that much damage. You know, the medics are constantly healing. There's actually a ton of marauders and firebats, which have a lot of health, so they actually aren't really.
And let's not forget, he could defense matrix like 6 units and just dive for it. But back at home, he actually doesn't have any defense on the front line, so these small amount of mutalists that were alive from earlier are still picking things off. And radiate. Oh, it's only 1 irradiate though, so if he separates it, it shouldn't be that bad of it. Radiate. There we go. Yeah, Irradiate does splash damage too, guys. But coming in from behind, he's got to be careful. Not what he thinks is behind. I think he saw the lurkers there earlier, but pushing into this is going to be difficult. Spine crawlers combined with lurkers doing a ton of damage. Red Bandit throwing in a nerve jammer. I actually really like that move, but I don't think it affects buildings. So only really, I guess, sort of stifles the lurkers. Breaks the lines, however. A couple marauders left, no Marines. The Mutalists should actually be able to clean this up, oddly enough.
Yeah, all the Marines went down instant. I noticed that and I was like, oh, these mutas coming back are really, really important. So he actually does lose his entire army. These, I mean, they can't afford another stim, so they're probably going to die.
But, you know, in the process, though, he took out a lot of lurkers. He broke the initial defense. And I think there's about, how many Hydras went down there? About 5 Hydras, too, on top of this. I wouldn't call that an amazing attack for Osiris, but it wasn't that bad either. The one thing I'm a little bit concerned for him, though, is Red Bandit. Ooh, nice irradiate as upon death there. Red Bandit's taking control of the map in a big way. He's got all the bases in the corners, and Osiris still doesn't know this. Now, the actual money for this, the income he gets from these bases, it's nice, but it's going to be somewhat irrelevant compared to the fact that it's just simply Osiris. You know, he's going to be tunnel visioning on this one base all game. And Red Bandit, quite frankly, the only thing here is his tech. He can rebuild this anywhere.
Yeah, and you know, the fact that he's not getting any tanks means that his army is, like, a bio army is very immobile. So I'm really disappointed that he's not able to identify that there are other bases he can, you know, spread off and attack, which would be a big strength of this army. He's just going to focus on here. And, I mean, if you're going to focus on these 2 ramps especially, I feel like tanks are actually a really good option on this map.
Yeah, I don't know. Tanks in general are... Well, I mean, they do so much more damage than Starbow. For those who are unaware of what we're discussing either, well... Oh, I forgot about that. They recently updated it so lurkers could burrow on top of one another. You couldn't stack them before, but even stacked, this is going to be difficult. Nerve jammers are nullifying the damage by about 25%, I think it is, to burrowed units. Yeah,
25% to burrowed units. And again, though, the Marines go down and the mutas come in and they clean everything up. Like, you can only do this so often. Of course, he does think that he's still on 2 base, but he's got to recognize... maybe that is not the case.
You better recognize. Well, I pictured you as a very, very strong black woman saying that. My bad. But no, realistically, guys, these trades, again, they're not going well for Osiris, but he's clearing out a lot of the lurkers, which it's not so much that they're expensive, they're not. Hydralisks are pretty cheap, and lurker transform mode is not too much either. But it's the fact that Osiris, this is not like regular StarCraft where you can just rally 14 Marines across the map and win versus a Zerg player. Like, these chokes are hard to break, and for good reason. If he was rallying like crazy, if he had the money, the income, and the bases for it, that would be another question altogether. But even so, he doesn't have that going for him in the slightest. He's just got these odd clumps of units that are kind of coming out, like, I guess, squad after squad instead of reinforcements.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how well I like this style. Again, if he had recognized that there are other bases on this map and he's going and taking those down, then I'd probably really like it. But as far as, you know, just going for those main 2 bases, I feel like a tanks and a contain would have been a lot more potent. I would have liked to have seen tanks.
Just in general, the range is going to be fantastic. But as we get further on, we have the Defiler Den up now. We do have Consume being researched for that energy boost, but Dark Swarm being researched, or no, sorry, that's Ventricle Sex. Well,
they come with Dark Swarm, pretty sure.
Oh, do they? Right, okay, my bad. Sorry, StarCraft on the brain, not Starbow mode. First cast of the day, but the thing about Dark Swarm as we get further into this, guys, what Dark Swarm does is it completely nullifies damage from ranged attacks. So if you get a Dark Swarm down on top of lurkers, those lurkers are not going anywhere.
Guardians or Devours.
For the science vessels, I imagine. I haven't actually seen a Devourer in Starbow.
7 Devours, though? Like, what did they have any special in Starbow?
I don't know. I've not seen a Starbow yet to date. Lurkers on the top of the ramp, by the way, really cool move out of Red Bandit, expecting everything to funnel up here, but the Irradiate takes care of that pretty nicely. Hydra's coming from the side, and this Terran army is... It's boxed in pretty hard.
He's got to back up. He's got to back up. Force the repositioning of the lurkers. No
nerve jammer support either.
That was actually a pretty good trade right there.
Yeah, catches the lurkers and unburrow this time. Should be able to get a couple good hits off.
Scanning. You have science vessels.
Yeah, I was just worried about them getting picked off by the Hydralis.
I think it's like habit. Like, seriously.
Where are those devours? We haven't seen these yet. What is this model?
What are you?
Oh my god, these are massive. Okay, so they got Blight. Spews acid onto the ground in the target area, causing 150 damage to enemy ground units and structures. Last 30 seconds. What?
Okay.
A 150 dot? That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
Because what Devours had that Corruptor's ability, right? In Brewer, that just increased damage.
They had like an automatic one.
Yeah.
You didn't have to press anything for it.
Yeah, you put like the little. I remember that. You put like the purple spores on the whatever you're attacking.
Well, yeah, but they still weren't used, and even if you got them, I mean, like, you didn't get 7. But now this makes a little more sense because they actually have something kind of useful. EMP will not work on these. It's actually a corruption. It's like the Corruptors. There's no mana. That's kind of sucky.
Well, the thing is, it's a 150 dot over 30 seconds. That's not a massive amount of damage,
actually,
and you can walk out of that.
Seconds. Yeah, that's actually not a ton at all. It's combined with like defilers. You can just hold a position forever. I feel is like what the point of this is.
Well, yeah, I really want to watch. Like, I don't care what's happening in the rest of the map. He's taking out of the bases. Good job, Osiris. I want to see these use their ability. 10 defilers coming out though. Jesus, this is gonna get really rough. Defilers have.
You need an army. Well, okay, here's the thing though. Is Plague still in Starbow?
Well, yeah, it is. That's what I was gonna say. You can find Plague with this dot, and all of a sudden you're gonna kill a lot of units. Plague can only take people down to 1 health. I think the Acid Spear from the Devourers will finish the job, and this could be really cool. But as you said just a moment ago, you do need an army behind both of these units. And right now, Red Bandit's got some lurkers, but that's really it. That being said, though, like I said, Red Bandit does some cool things, and this is specifically why I wanted to cast them. So I'm not at all disappointed right now.
I don't even know if you really need that many units. Like, I kind of want to take that back because if you do get that sweet, like,
the one plague that hits everything.
Yeah, plus this blight. Like, Jesus.
Well,
plus any lurkers on the ground. Like, oh my god.
This is gonna be rough to deal with. I mean, for those who don't know, plague is kind of like a fungal growth that doesn't lock units into place. It's a dot that sticks on the units and it'll tick them down to 1 health. It does a ton of damage, but it can't kill anything. That being said, if you got an army full of 1 HP Marines, it doesn't matter how many medics you have.
Oh, wait, no, that's plague. Oh, they automatically have blight. That's right. It's not mana. I just went over that.
It's the freaking tech in Star Wars. Something we're gonna have to take a minute to remember.
Okay, but he hasn't researched plague for okay.
Okay, so still no plague, but Dark Swarm's still gonna be fantastic. Plague's almost done. Well, I shouldn't say almost. It's a little over halfway, but still. I think combined with Dark Swarm, it should pretty much guarantee that there's no breaking of this wall anytime soon. So that being said, I mean, what, Irradiate's gonna be the only method of damage he's gonna have?
Where the scan's going down? Just on the army.
It's checking the rain too. A lot of macro hatcheries, because of course larva injects don't work the way they do in StarCraft. But you know, coming forward like this, I wonder if you put down a wall of spine cars so you could physically block out units coming in and just put down infinite dark swarms, would you ever lose anything in there?
No, like there's actually a lot of Brood War games where that happens. They're stuck on like 2 base. And they just keep on dark swarming.
Okay, first plague goes off. Oh god, it looks so nasty and Starbow. Look at the blood coming out of everything. A couple of radiates as well.
Yeah, he has so many science vessels. That's actually really good against what he's doing because, well, they just dive in there and they kill off these really special, really important spellcasters.
Well, he can drop as many plagues as he wants. He has to keep a couple dark swarms alive. We do see it got reduced in size a little bit, but that being said, it covers perfectly everything that it needs to.
I want to see the double whammy. I want to see plague plus blight.
I do too. We saw them shoot the science vessel earlier. Another plague does go off. And, wow, the defiler actually backs out of there alive. A lot of these units stuck at 1 HP right now, though, guys. They will be finished off quite quickly. See just sniping off left and right.
Oh, they do take down the science vessels, or a lot of them.
You know, the science vessel is kind of the linchpin in this army too. Medics are wasting all of their energy healing as well right now, the plagued up units. So some of these units are alive, and he drops some SCVs to repair. You do not drop mules in Starbow. Sorry, we didn't discuss this earlier. You don't get mules, and SCVs aren't free, but you can drop them anywhere on the map with the ability on the command center. So he's preparing up the science vessels. I like that move a lot. I would also love if he started building some turrets behind this. I think that'd be really cool too. Keep the Devourers at least back from getting free kills. Where are the Marines?
No Marines over there.
Oh my god, they're all just move upwards, you terrible soldiers. And it's continuing to irradiate in. This is a battle of spellcasts, something I've not actually seen in Starbow yet. I'm totally stoked for. I mean, we've seen Templars with storms, of course, as that's still a regular part of the Protoss game. But
oh my god,
he's out of science vessels. He's got one left. There we go. Some turrets coming down. Nice. Dark Swarm going to secure his position here, so forced to back up just a little bit. I wonder, because I know Dark Swarm reduces damage from AoE effects. So can Fire Bats hit through the Dark Swarm?
Yes, that's why they actually make Fire Bats sometimes, is that you get through the Dark Swarm.
Yeah, well, he's not able to connect to them at all.
Failed.
He loses them all.
He didn't even, like, shoot at all, which makes me wonder if it's changed in Starbow.
Well, I think he just died too fast to figure it out. Anyways, now the Dark Swarm does come down, but the problem with Dark Swarm, guys, is stationary, so you have to keep advancing it. If you don't have any energy, you can't push. Now, you can consume and kill a unit to get some energy back, which is really nice, but engagement force outside the Dark Swarm. Another one comes down. No more irradiates left either. This is really unfortunate. Forced to push back one more time. Osiris constantly giving up ground here, but the Hydralisks are almost all gone, and these are the fodder for the army. Plague covers everything here in the Terran army. Everything pretty much left at 1 HP, and this is so unfortunate. We've not seen use of the medic shields either, which I think would be incredibly more effective in this scenario because of the way Plague works, but still just trying to heal up these injured units. Not too easy, and I want to remind you all, this is a best of 3, so we've got a very unique game, but we got a couple more behind this, which is really awesome. But 7 Marauders at a time, some more Marines. Really needs to up the Science Vessel production, though, I think. It's not going to be Marines that win this game. It's not going to be the bio. It's going to be the Science Vessels. But, oh my god, a Lurker run by while this is happening. Positioned right outside Osiris's base.
Oh, this could be really deadly. The Science Vessels need to come back and actually irradiate all that. Oh,
he doesn't recognize this at all. A little bit too late. Raise the depot. Okay, he raises the depot, but these can still break through pretty easily. Meanwhile, he can't really afford to give up. He's already given up so much of his frontal assault that he can't really fall back too much more, but Hydralisks advancing forward to try and push back the Science Vessels. Does lose one with a lot of energy, sadly.
These Lurkers did bust through the supply depot, so they can get into the production. Osiris actually isn't producing anything. What are you doing? Do something.
He's got money. He's got supply. He's just focused on the other side of the map right now. You need to get your macro going, buddy, or you're going to be out of this game in a moment's time, because these Lurkers can and will finish you. 7 Marauders, 6 Marines, and a Science Vessel. This is kind of what he wants to have, but again, like at this point, with how many Lurkers have been present, no siege tanks, not even a single Banshee. Like, Osiris, he's making... His army's not bad, don't get me wrong. But there's, like, these subtle little 1 or 2 units he could make that could really change up the way he's handling things. But nice irradiates on top of all the Devourers. Will cost him his Science Vessels, though.
All of his Science Vessels. I don't agree with that at all. Oh, okay, one survives. But, actually, tanks at this point, probably not the best idea. Only useful for attacking these outlying expansions, which he definitely needs. But once Dark Swarm is out in heavy enough numbers, tanks actually... you want more Science Vessels than tanks, which is what he was doing. He's not using them till they're, I don't know.
But that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like, if we had had the tanks earlier on, would we be at this position right now?
Early on, for sure.
Lurker's trying to break the front lines. We do have a couple units on the side, but they're so low they can't really afford to engage. All of these units are 1 health, folks. It's not 1 HP for the win. It's Plague for the win. Units towards the north, too, also not getting involved with the fight, but Dark Swarm covering everything. Nerve Jammer's helping a little bit, but walk away, man. It's a Dark Swarm. You can't fight this. You literally can't fight this. Not too many Lurkers left in this army, though. Mostly just Hydralisks for the time being. Looking a little bit better here for Osiris across the map, but a little bit better doesn't mean anything close to a victory.
Oh, that was just planetary. He didn't activate it.
Yeah, he just lost one of his last mining bases. Other command center's going to be floating here in a moment. It's looking pretty rough for Osiris. He had a pretty good mid-game, I gotta say, and even coming into the late game here, I'd say unprepared, quote-unquote, he still handles this pretty well, but unfortunately, I think with his army dying out here, this is going to be pretty much the end. He's got no money, no income. Good game finally called. Tehredbandit, ladies and gentlemen, will be game number 1's victor. Not too bad, not too shabby.